Why were you guys talking about who you think has the best handshake in broadcasting? How did this conversation come up?
I was complaining about Ian Eagle and Charles Davis being split up, even though J.J. Watt, good reports coming from his first couple weeks there, so I'm going to give that a pass. I haven't heard it yet, but I was complaining about that group being split up, and then it just, Charles Davis seems like a stand-up guy, seems like he has a great handshake. So that's where it started. And then it turned into other broadcasters with good handshakes. Someone said Louis Riddick. I don't really see that one. And that's where we are.
Charles Davis seems like the kind of guy that'll give you a handshake and say, "How the hell are you?"
Exactly.
After.
Exactly.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Charles Davis seems like the kind of guy who would give you a handshake and say enthusiastically, "How the hell are you?" I would like to understand what you guys are doing here, though, because I don't know that I can assess firm handshake based on appearance. You feel like you can do that?
Yeah, and then Troy Aikman was thrown out there, but then Jeremy pointed out he's a look-at-me-Louie handshake guy. Like, he's going to go overly hard.
Too much.
Where you're just like, all right, you're trying too hard here.
I think he'd surprise you with that. Like, you'd give him a handshake,
he brings
and then
you in for a little...
he'll maybe finger snap and pull you in a little bit.
Well, so you're assuming that someone – so in this category, the way you guys are doing this, Trevor Maddich, you're making all the big guys, all the thick guys have – you're saying that – I've had some of the limpest handshakes I've ever had from –
Have you seen Aikman with his shirt off?
Well, no, Aikman's a
He's in the
different
best shape of
character.
his life.
When you said Aikman, you made me rethink my position because Aikman is country thick, and you went a category outside of the one you were doing, which is it was strong black men for a while for what it is that I heard.
I mean, there are those photos of Troy Aikman looking like Jay-Z.
Louis Riddick was nominated. Who else would you nominate here? Billy, did you have any thoughts on this? A person that you can size up on their appearance and be like, yeah, that person clearly has a good handshake. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Does Brad Williams have a good handshake? Like, what are you guys doing?
Whoa.
I don't know, where'd you bring
What does
this?
that mean?
It's a weird pool.
Yeah.
You know who I bet had a firm but comforting handshake? Vin Scully. I bet that was a perfect handshake. Just exactly firm enough to where he was saying, "Hey, how are you?" but without overdoing it, like Troy Aikman.
Now that you mentioned the Brad Williams thing, having shaked his hand on several occasions, it is like the bro hug when he's set up. Like, you do have to, it works out the quads.
What Jeremy is saying there, what are you smiling about, Roy?
It works out the quads.
I mean, it's one of those handshakes that you have to work out in your head before.
Like, I can't do 8 in a minute.
Get those squats in, man.
Troy Aikman, for some reason, it's too vigorous. I don't know what we're doing there. I'm not sure what what the hell are we doing?
We've established you have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
Your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air, when the chips are down and you throw a prayer, when your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control, and we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
I'll let people see just behind the scenes a little bit here, because there are several things about Chris Cody that are very red. One of them is how red he turns during that open when he sees how close we are as a media company to televising his culo. We are very close. His legs are flapping around and the shorts are open and we are seeing undergarments and skin. And every time, Chris, are you fearing that we are going to see the entirety of the whole of your butt?
Thank God for boxer briefs. They do a lot there to protect me.
There is that brief moment where you kind of see it. Little puckered up red starfish.
I think
We don't need to zoom. I see the video team trying to find it. Like,
yes.
we don't need to do
Well,
detective work on this.
Well, we do, though, because I don't believe that this is something that other media entities, they're willing to go this
There
close
it is.
to the
A lot
edge.
of thigh. All right, we got it, guys.
Yes, look how happy you
look
there.
so
Back
happy.
to Dan.
You do look
I'm enjoying my
happy there.
dad. I'm a good son.
Pablo Torre is going to join us here in 40 minutes. Everywhere he goes these days, he's just spilling information that no one else has. So you're going to want to be here for that, I would assume. He's doing better journalistic work in sports than anybody is. And Jeremy said before we started here, Jeremy nominated Vin Scully for someone he assumes has a firm handshake. And the reason that I don't know what we're doing here is I don't assume that old people ever have a firm handshake. Like, none of them. I'm never going in. Maybe Jeff Conine's dad. Jeff Conine's dad one time took me off guard because he's like a champion racquetball player. And as soon as he shook my hand, my elbow hurt. Like he did it. He had unbelievably strong hands.
When Niner came in studio, we knew this reputation around the Conine family and the racquetball thing and whatnot, and we'd heard the legends of Jeff Conine's handshake. So we all got on the same page and we're going to give it to him. And
Mike did it.
I'm proud to report, I gave it to him. I won that.
No.
Yeah, I won that. If you mentally prepare, like this guy's going to try to rip your hand off in this handshake, you go in you go in prepared,
right.
and I definitely,
So
I definitely dominated the handshake.
Okay, so he underestimated you is what happened. The reason I said no the way that I did is because he prides himself on his handshake. And I'd never seen my brother. My brother liked to wander around and have these fights. He used to do it with your dad, Chris. Where he'd have these, because your dad has a good, strong hand. Your dad has a firm handshake, but my brother only lost one time in his life in a handshake off where he's going in to try and hurt someone's hand and they're going in trying to hurt his. Like, that's where the starting point was. My brother was undefeated because he defeated your dad, Chris. He was undefeated until he met Jeff Conine. And so that was my surprise when you said you beat him at the handshake, but you were prepared and he wasn't.
I had the keys to the game.
Jeff Conine could not have wanted to be here any less than he wanted to be here the day he was here.
It felt that way. And then
I've never seen anyone be more miserable than Jeff Conine was the day that he was here.
He's pretty dry, and it was hard to get a read on it. And we were told that, no, he really enjoyed it. Could have fooled us. Yeah.
Let's call Jeff Conine now, please, and let's find out about the handshake.
That'll go well.
I'm going to give you his
perfect.
telephone number.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask him if he enjoyed his
Just give it to us right now over the air.
We have phones.
Yeah.
Billy, that's a good contribution by you. I'm not going to give it to you over the air, though. I would like you to call him, though. I'm going to send you his number right now because I do have questions. But let's continue the conversation about the firmest handshake.
This is shit stirring, right? Like
I'm not calling
you know
Jeff
it when
Conine.
you do it. Like, you don't have, like, this is
shit stirring.
Third-dimensional shit stirring.
This is shit stirring that Jeff Conine will and would enjoy. And if I'd been here that day.
As much as he enjoyed the day he was here, because everyone keeps telling us, no, he really is like a pleasant guy with such a good sense of humor. And it's like, no, the guy's a stick in the mud, dude.
Don't give Dan more reasons to put him on.
I was beginning to say, if I had been here that day, I probably would have explained to you that throughout my life for deadpan humor in athletics, no one funnier than Jeff Conine about making people uncomfortable with his stoicism so that they think that he hates them when he doesn't hate them. He just amuses himself by seeing discomforts like that. So I would like to talk to Jeff Conine about whether he was thinking about you and your handshake in any way, and if you could defeat him at the handshake if he were trying. Because his racquetball hands and baseball wrists are something that make his hands inordinately strong.
I'm not going to abide by Jeff Conine now claiming victory when he lost to me, too. Yeah. Like, that's twice in 1 week, pal.
I'll tell you this. I happen to know that both Chip
wait a
Carroll.
minute.
Oh, my God, he knows.
No, he doesn't get one of those.
Come, everyone.
Come and listen.
Said the thing.
No, but it's
He
not,
happens to know.
He said the thing.
it's not just
Well
saying.
informed.
And that was very quick of a turnaround right there, Chris Cody.
Jeremy is not, forgive me, because Jeremy is a sideline reporter. He's a professional broadcaster. He's got credentials. But Jeremy has not to date been someone with sources who breaks news. I don't have that wrong. I don't mean to underestimate you.
First-hand account here, Dan. I happen to know both Chip Carey and Dan Schulman. Wow. Great handshakes. Wow.
Look at me, Louie.
Is it?
I mean, the Dan Schulman.
I mean, that's where he got me, Dan Schulman.
I want to talk about where the Dolphins are in a second, but before Pablo Torre comes on, and I want to talk a lot of football today because last night's was interesting. Mike, I argued with you all of last season telling you that I thought Green Bay's defense was good only because their front four gets pressure without needing help. And now they have Micah Parsons. So Jaden Daniels hasn't had that kind of pressure in his entire career, and that's what it looks like for all of them when that's the pressure, except for sometimes Lamar Jackson. There are certain guys who are okay against that, but the Packers' defense was good before and added Micah Parsons. We'll get to that game in a second because I mean, the Jordan Love throw that he made that got, I mean, he makes a bunch of them, but the 40-yarder that got overturned by a holding call, it's just an absurd talent they now have at quarterback. Like, that team's going to be good for a while if it's healthy in a way that's obvious to everybody and replaces Aaron Rodgers, and they're going to have 3 great quarterbacks in a row, which is insane because that's a little bit hard to do.
I think fans locally are pretty jealous of the fortune Green Bay's had when they've had a Hall of Fame quarterback backed up by a Hall of Fame quarterback. That quarterback takes over, puts up a Hall of Fame career, and then backed up by another future All-Pro because Jordan Love is looking the part.
It's not just that, though. Looking the part in the modern age with the way that football is played today, running over a safety on third down.
Did not know he had that in him.
Okay, but this will be fun to watch. The Packers aren't going to do – we just saw their downtime, and Jerry just traded them a pass rusher. Like, their downtime was to get him before now. Now Jordan Love is not only going to be great, Jordan Love is also value because he costs, doesn't he, about what Tua does? Like,
he signed a big extension, but they're smart about their extensions. I don't know about you, but I was, like, fixated on Micah Parsons last night. I love watching that dude play. I love how Dallas used him, and Green Bay's using him in a similar fashion, probably even amplifying his versatility across the line. He played every position across that line from what I could tell last night. They reserved him a little bit. You could tell the back injury. They're still trying to, wade him into those waters.
That's wild that he is still technically hurt because he's so fast.
Yeah, he had like 9 snaps like midway through the
crazy
second.
how fast he is.
he chased down last week when he had his sack, and it felt to me like Jared Goff was surprised. Jared Goff has some familiarity of when people are around him, but that got there faster than other things get there. When you look at the way they measure those people, because I've told you guys, I saw LT's prime. Like I watched that, and now when I watch TJ Watt or Myles Garrett, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty close, and this is better than those things. When to my eye, Myles Garrett is as good at that as anyone I've ever seen. Seeing him sack Joe Burrow 3 times, I believe Myles Garrett is the only thing on this earth that scares Joe Burrow. I don't think there's anything else that scares Joe Burrow. I think to my eye that Myles Garrett is better, but numerically he's not. When Micah Parsons is on the field, he creates more pressures than any player in the sport. And Bill Barnwell had this stat empirically. Since they've had Micah Parsons, when he was in Dallas, when he was on the field, they were the best defense in the league over that time. When he wasn't, they were the worst. This is a player that is what Charles Haley was once upon a time when Dallas needed a missing piece. You can never get that guy. Now he's a little hurt, but he's available to a defense that's already good. We'll get back to that in a second. The peanuts in front of me, I am curious why it is David Sampson, during his star turn here on Pablo Torre, because Pablo Torre is elevating all yachts around here. David Sampson was with Amin El-Hassan giving real expertise so that Pablo Torre is now miles ahead of everyone else, the NBA, the Clippers. It felt to me over the last couple of days, seeing Adam Silver talk before the next episode dropped, I saw a whole tide shift in that sport and in that league from where it is Ballmer was when he was with the Board of Governors and everyone was laughing with him and believing that he was saying it's a fraud, like I just got defrauded, I just got conned. He's at the Board of Governors. Everyone there likes Ballmer. Ballmer has done good work on behalf of the owners, and the first step was for Silver to get out there, just like Mark Cuban, and defend Ballmer. And then the next news dropped. And it makes them look foolish because they didn't know what the next news was going to be, where it's a little closer to the Clippers than it was before. And they were talking in protection of Ballmer. That's not the mood in the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours since this Pablo story broke, I have talked to enough people that they are now more inclined to believe that Ballmer knew more than what it is that was going on at those governors' meetings when he was insisting the same thing that he insisted to Ramona Shelburne. Like, you guys have to understand.
What does any of this have to do with peanuts?
That David Sampson was eating peanuts throughout the episode. I didn't understand why he was eating peanuts throughout the episode. Forgive me.
Probably
Thank you.
because they're damn good. I don't know if he had Hampton Farms, but he should have.
Just know you have to circle back to the Packer game, too. You are weaving quite the web today.
I was wondering if he was talking to peanut farmers or trying to figure it out.
I'm personally hoping he forgot about the Conine thing.
I gave the number to Chris and Billy.
My phone's off in the corner because something's wrong with it where I turn the sound off and it keeps making sounds anyway. So I have it under a bag in the corner.
Is your phone in timeout?
I'm going to send it to Roy now. Yeah, well, I need somebody to get me Jeff Conine so I can ask him about this.
Damn, I reminded him. He was definitely going to forget.
Yeah.
While you do that, Dan, let me remind the audience of our Hampton Farms winner of the week. Congrats to the Alabama fan who did not like Kalen DeBoer. They are this week's Nuttiest Fan of the Week, presented by Hampton Farms, the official snack nut of the tailgate. Keep an eye out for Lucy Rodine at West Virginia this week if you think you are your team's Nuttiest fan. We had the Miami fans with the lemur versus the Alabama fan who doesn't like Kalen DeBoer. And 2 weeks in a row, Alabama fan wins. We had middle finger guy last week, and now this week we're going to play it here. A fan outside of a gas station saying what she would do if she won the lottery.
I tell you exactly what I'd do with the first $70 million. I'd pay off Kalen DeBoer and get him the heck out of the University of Alabama, and then I'd take whatever else it took to get rid of the AD.
So that's the craziest fan, thanks to Hampton Farms.
Roy, I have put you on a text with Jeff Conine.
I see that, yes.
Okay.
Not a lot of detail. I just saw the text.
You love that move.
I'm busy doing something. I
You can
can't.
just text Roy the number and he can handle it.
I did that with Billy and Chris. How'd that work out for me?
We did that on purpose, though.
Sometimes producing is saying this is a bad idea.
That's what we do. And sometimes producing is not saying this is a bad idea, just talking amongst yourselves that it's a bad idea and hoping you forget.
It is never a bad idea to talk to Mr. Marlin.
Oh, that was a very long hour we did with Mr. Marlin.
Speaking of bad ideas, do you want your Ray Hudson call?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, man.
It sinks his flaming spear into the hearts of Real Madrid.
Alba inside. It's Messi!
Again, the medicine man arrives and sinks his flaming spear into the hearts of Real Madrid.
Wow, echoes.
Wanted to repeat it for emphasis.
It was pretty smooth. You should have cut it off there. Only 183 more of those.
Good.
I'm feeling World Cup fever, I got to tell you. Either that or COVID.
The AC did turn off.
Billy came in here today for some reason fired up about Shedeur Sanders. Why were you fired up about Shedeur Sanders?
I wasn't fired up. I just, saw Tony Rizzo talking about Shedeur Sanders. Tony Rizzo was there, and he was giving us, exclusive information that Tony Rizzo got. Because as you know, Tony Rizzo is a big name in the Cleveland market as far as the Browns go. So you have to trust anything that Tony Rizzo says. So Tony Rizzo reported in Cleveland radio, Tony Rizzo, that that he heard that Shedeur Sanders, isn't even really participating on the practice squad at the moment. So it's kind of like, what are the Browns doing with Shedeur Sanders? I don't quite understand why they didn't just release him when they had to cut a quarterback if they're not even going to use him in the practice squad.
It is an interesting situation that the Browns have because, their purported savior is this fifth-round draft pick, and it just so happened to be in a year in which they drafted a quarterback ahead of him. So maybe we trust the evaluation there and say, like, maybe Dylan Gabriel. I know it doesn't make sense to our eyes, and Shedeur probably fits what you envision a franchise quarterback looking like, certainly more than Dylan Gabriel. But they have two of these ripcords that they can pull at any time that can release what is an intoxicant for Cleveland Browns fans. Hope at the quarterback position.
I also don't want to, speculate on things, but there were reports that Kevin Stefanski did not want him to be on the team and didn't want to draft him, and then they went around him and drafted him anyways and forced that pick. So it's entirely possible Kevin Stefanski is like, you know what, I didn't want you on this team. I'm being forced to have you on this team, but you're not really going to be on this team if I have anything to do with it, which is absurd.
Yeah, it was a Haslam call.
There is no reason to pay attention to the Cleveland Browns this season.
Why?
Because I'm about to get there. That's what I was going to do.
He was bought in. Guys, what is this?
The Cleveland Browns are in the position that they are in because you cannot have that much dead guaranteed money from a quarterback who isn't playing for you. So they're handcuffed in a way that will make them uninteresting all season, even though they have Myles Garrett.
But you also have, like, your potential future quarterback who's a fifth-rounder, so you make up for that there, right? Like, if you could get a first-round quarterback at a fifth-round price, then that kind of offsets some of the dead money for Deshaun Watson.
Well, but the problem with that is more structural than because when you have that much money tied up in Deshaun Watson, the rest of your team isn't quite good enough to make sure that Shedeur Sanders is protected the way a first-time starter who's a fifth-round pick must be at the beginning of his career, because that position is hard to play. Their team is really bad, and they had a chance to win the opening game and start the Bengals the way that the Bengals always start. But once you're starting Joe Flacco with your season at this point in his career, that season has no chance. That season's not going to end anywhere good. And by the time Shedeur Sanders can play, even if he can play, that team's not good enough to make him better. And structurally, organizationally, they've got these problems that make it why when Aaron Rodgers goes from the Jets to the Steelers, you see how that ends up looking different. That is a bad franchise, and it's been a bad franchise almost the entirety of my lifetime. Even if Shedeur Sanders were good, he would drown there because they've made no one good at that position since Bernie Kosar.
Well, I mean, Baker did have like a good season and did win a playoff game on the road for them. And we all know now that Baker Mayfield is a pretty damn good quarterback. I would buck up against you saying that the Browns aren't interesting, just sampling, debate television. Shedeur Sanders, whether he can play or not, that's still TBD. But in terms of having it as a sports conversation, he's had that for years.
Oh, but, oh my God. The reason I say it's uninteresting is just because that's all going to fail. Deion's kid is going to drown in the dysfunction that is Cleveland because everyone does. It's always happened.
Well, a lot of fifth-round draft picks also fail.
But also, like, had he been drafted fifth or whatever by the Browns, then people would have been excited. But because he was drafted in the fifth round, then all of a sudden it's a guaranteed failure. Like, I don't entirely agree that it's just going to be kind of like an uninteresting team. They have storylines, and you are going to have a legitimate QB battle, not just amongst a drafted quarterback and a franchise quarterback, but two drafted quarterbacks. What's working against them, though, Dan, is the schedule, because this week they're at Baltimore.
Wow, that's
going to be a tough one. Then they host Green Bay.
That's a loss.
That's probably another loss. Then they're at Detroit. I mean, I don't know. We don't know exactly what the Lions are going to be. It's a big week for the Lions.
Get right game.
Maybe. Then you have the Vikings, Steelers, Dolphins. I mean, this is just a murderer's row at the beginning of the season. Yeah, it's going to be rough.
Check after the bye.
After the bye, I mean, you have Miami, New England headed into the bye, so that's kind of get right time. Okay. Then you have the Jets.
Well, is this a spot where you put in Shedeur?
You guys are doing
after the bye,
you guys are doing a funny thing with the Browns because I don't think anyone listening to the sound of my voice would put the Browns in the top 15 of their teams in the league, and wherever it is your power rankings are on such things. And I don't think that anyone listening to this also thinks that Shedeur Sanders would make them appreciably better than that when that's what he'd be inheriting in his first year.
Well, I don't know if you were following what we were doing.
Yeah.
But, they don't have a win.
They might not have a week until week 7.
So they're only going to be interesting because they're dreadful?
I mean, but you've written off how many teams already after 1 week?
How many? Look,
they played close to the Bengals.
The Browns have this weird thing about them that when they're bad, they're an interesting type of bad. They've been a topic for being, even when they're really bad,
You have to bet and be right. You guys would put futures on the Browns making the playoffs?
No one
I don't know
said
what
they're
you're
going to make the
doing. Where are you pulling
playoffs.
this?
There's either like they're terrible or they're going to win the
half
Super
the teams
Bowl.
in the
Just
league
have
make
them at 0-7. What are you talking about? We have them at interesting. That's what we have them
No,
as.
but half the teams in the league aren't interesting because they don't have a chance to win, and half the teams of the league are in the playoffs.
And as someone that has lived through several Browns bad seasons, they have found a way to be interesting always because of the hope that is represented in a young draft pick at quarterback. And now they got 2 of those, and no one wants the higher draft pick to succeed. In sampling the Cleveland Browns fan base, they're all Shador people.
Well, Kevin Stefanski wants the higher draft pick to succeed, it would appear.
You sound like a Browns fan again.
No. I am informed. I didn't unfollow Browns accounts. I got my finger on.
Sounds
on
like
that
you're a
pulse.
little more informed on the Browns than you might be on, for example, I'm going to say the Seahawks.
Well informed.
Don't do that to me. Don't project that to me.
No, I think you're biased here again.
I'm not. No.
I think I see some bias on you.
I didn't introduce the topic.
I think
I'm a
you're
Bucks
I
and
think
Titans
you're-
guy.
I think you're crawling back to the Browns.
No, couldn't be further from the truth. They had a chance. They didn't trade up to get Cam Ward, and now I'm tightening up.
Chris Cody, Billy mentioned once, I think, Tony Rizzo from Cleveland. Do we have some sound of him? What was he ranting against? The parade?
He was complaining against a potential 0-16 parade for the Browns.
If you're one of the people out there that is planning a parade for 0-16, I will fight you. Come down and see me right now. I am at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Do you have the clip where he said that we were such a well-produced show? Like a training ground for producers.
So you're alleging, Billy, that Tony Rizzo happens to know. You gave him, I gave Jeremy, Chris gave Jeremy, happens to know. I thought that was the exclusive domain of reporters around here. People who were doing reporting and were offering information that no one else had because they're reporters. That's your biggest scoop, Jeremy? That
I mean, I'm the only person here who works as a reporter, like literally by definition.
Yeah, that's his main job. This is
what
his
I
main
do
hustle.
for a living.
But
get
you don't.
paid
But
there.
you don't break news.
No, but he reports. Sideline reporters don't often break news unless they're like, so-and-so went into the dugout, so-and-so is in the locker room, we'll give you an update here. But no, what's happening today?
Yeah, like
Are
tonight-
you all right? That was a good
I don't
football
know.
game. Is this because we haven't delivered Jeff Conine?
Yes.
I can't understand why you would sort of diminish the credentials of me as a reporter. I mean, tonight, when I'm working as a reporter on the Marlins broadcast, I'll be going around asking trivia questions to Marlins fans in the concourse, with the deal being for everyone they get right, I buy them a hot dog for $1 hot dog night. If that's not reporting, then I don't know what is, Dan.
Walter Cronkite.
We will spend the entire season analyzing the sport.
I listened to Dan's show while I was in Florida last week, you know? I listened every day, came in the afternoon. He's got a good show. He's got a very good show. Oh, it's impeccably produced. I mean, oh, goodness. That is like a training show for kids on how to produce radio.
Get me Conine.
I mean, we're certainly not that anymore.
Get me Conine.
What is the Conine payoff exactly? Like, what are you going to ask him? Hey, Jeff, did you have fun when you were here?
That's right.
When I wasn't?
That's right.
The big payoff is it was all right.
You know, in 2003 in Chicago, it's like, we get it, buddy. You won a World Series 23 years ago.
You guys,
Do you remember your handshake with Mike Ryan? Not really.
I don't give it 2 thoughts.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mike Mordecai. Oh, okay, we get it, bud.
Here's the problem with what you guys are doing. You take no inventory of consequences that befall me.
Correct.
You have ruined my relationship with World Series MVP Mike Lowell.
No,
You-
my relationship is ruined.
No.
with Mike Lowell.
No.
Because I thought we were all cool, and I mentioned something about his defensive prowess at second base, and like he took it super personal.
Okay,
and, like,
again, not taking
damage forever.
not taking consequences. You were responsible for forever ruining my relationship with World Series MVP Mike Lowell. I don't know. Now you're being disrespectful to Mr. Marlin.
You're shit stirring because I'm not being disrespectful.
He's also saying you guys are not taking accountability by the fact that you've ruined all of my
Yeah,
relationships.
I literally just said, no, it's my bad. I said, hey, man, I thought we could crack jokes about you playing second, and apparently Michael is not down like that.
It's impeccably produced.
So that's my bad. I feel bad about it every day. This is me taking accountability. Mike Lowell certainly wasn't as cool as with me as
You
I
said
thought he
you could
was.
beat him in a foot race. Is where you lost.
I
him.
don't recall that at all.
You were disrespectful to him as a player. He's
He
the
was
world's-
slow.
You were disrespectful to
Did
him
I
as
say
a
that
player.
part?
Yes.
I think he took offense to like the defensive thing. I don't know. It was very, very
Okay.
strange.
You tell me
I
what
don't.
he
I
took
apologize
offense to.
personally. I've had 2 of these in my. No, 3 of these. One of them was because Jeremy Roenick had too many on a golf course.
That guy was
Oh,
a
that was,
jerk.
that was bad.
Yeah, he
That was
kept
bad.
calling my PD trying to get me fired. But you know what? He has his reputation. I got mine.
Thinking back to the Conine day, didn't you also tell Jeff Conine, like, you had a terrible
Yeah, it was
game
like-
3 or something? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just went over how horrible his game
But
was.
you were trying to build him up because it was like you bounced back.
He had the
late in
game-winning
the
hit.
game.
Yeah,
Right.
he had the game-winning
You
hit.
were like
but
you
he-
were so
You
bad.
were
early
dog
in that
shit
game.
before that game-winning hit,
Like, you
though.
grounded into a double play, got caught stealing. Like, but he did deliver the one run, and I was trying to credit
What the
his
hell was he
tenacity.
doing trying to steal, if we're going to be honest?
I don't know. I don't think I have a problem with Jeff Conine, but we'll find out. Landon Donovan also had to apologize directly because he was very sensitive, but whatever. We're good now. We did a show. I had way too many Miller Lights, not really thinking that game would end so quickly.
So to be clear, Dan's relationships were ruined by you, and it wasn't you. It was them not receiving the information the way they should have that ruined. So really, they ruined their relationships with Dan if we're following this
It's
correctly.
not a they, and it's not relationships.
No, Landon Donovan.
No, that was me.
Mike Lowell.
I took accountability.
No,
Look,
but it was them because they received it wrong. So you didn't ruin it. They ruined it by not receiving it properly. So that's why they ruined. Look, they ruined their relationships with Dan. Settled.
I'm being accountable. I thought I was closer to these people than I actually was. They're like, only my friends can talk to me like that, and you, sir, are not my friend. I will be a good teammate and not reveal the cavalcade of relationships Dan's ruined for me.
Oh.
Give me the broadcasting person who won our handshake competition, and get me Jeff Conine. Who's the broadcaster that you guys would point to and say that's the guy? You think you can beat Trevor Maddich? Like if I say Trevor Maddich has the firmest handshake in all of broadcasting, you know Chris Fowler probably has.
Oh, dude, I don't want that smoke. Don't want that smoke.
But Chris Fowler wants to show you.
Yeah, well, he's vascular.
What about Mark Schlereth?
I don't want that smoke either.
Alyssa Lang looks like she has a good handshake.
Mark Schlereth is another one of my beefs, but I think we're all right.
I think Schlereth's handshake would be gnarled. I would think fingers are gnarled there, that there would be trouble sort of and I'm not mocking him.
But it's a meat hook. You don't want any part of that.
The hockey guys, Roy, have to they're
Eddie Olczyk?
Well, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, I'm not going to say it's the reason Kawhi Leonard's so good, but one of them is the size of his hands makes him, in the lane, someone's impossibly strong. You cannot take that ball out of his hands. How often do you see Kawhi Leonard stripped? Like, the way that he has the ball is at least in part because his hands are inordinately large. He will shake your elbow if he's shaking your hand. Is he in the contest if we make it sports, if we go into sports, if we go not just broadcasting but the athletes?
I would say if you have to grip a tool, like a golf club, a bat, hockey stick, tennis racket, you're probably in that tier.
Wow. Well, but this is why I think Jeff Conine, I think the racquetball and the bat, right? You're doing so many reps of things with your hands that require hand strength. That's why I tell you that it was something. My brother all his life did this. He tried to have handshake offs with people like Boog Shambi. You know Boog Shambi.
Good handshake.
Oh, of course, Boog Shambi. Boog Shambi has taken me and my brother with
ham hands.
With both of Boog Shambi is uncommonly strong. And so me and my brother grabbed him from the sides one time, and he threw us the way that Chewbacca did in the original Star Wars. Like he just threw the both of us with both shoulders.
That's Hulk strength.
Yeah, I mean it was ridiculous. It was and so, but he would tell you, Jeff Conine's hands, there cannot be a firmer handshake anywhere in sports.
Roy, I did shake Brooks Koepka's hand one time.
How'd that go?
Nothing to report there. I thought it was fairly even.
Okay.
Why did you share that
Well,
story?
you were saying the people that hold clubs. I'm like, I'd live to tell the tale.
Tools, the idea of tools, that if you're doing something that often, your hands are going to be unusually strong. If you guys don't get me Conine for the payoff on this segment, I'm going to call Tony Rizzo and see if he wants to hire all of you.
Oh shit!
Are you?
He'd love to hire all of us.
Yeah.
He'd glowing praise. I mean,
Seems
you're
like
lost, bud.
He values us.
Yeah, exactly right.
Would he pay?
I don't think this one's on us. This one might be on Niner. What if Niner doesn't want to do it?
It's your fault.
I guess. Back to the Packers.
No, before I've got something for them. But before we get to that, and before we get out of the local hour, did you do on your special owned own platform of University of Miami Hurricaning, where you are an insider, a booster, a reporter, and a jack of all trades. Did you do the 5-hour live stream with guests for USF and Miami, a game between top 20 teams this week?
We did not do a special 5-hour Hurricane marathon on Canes Insight, but Canes Insight is available daily. I was on the show on Wednesday. We had Josh Appel, friend of the show, former intern, preview our opponent. And I'm super into this game. It's a top 20 matchup that doesn't have a lot of juice for, they're playing for the MacGuffin. Am I breaking this to you?
I have liked South Florida and UCF for the last decade, getting sort of the spillage that there is in Florida football. And I know South Florida's had some bad teams here. I don't think this is one of them.
The University of Miami is a really good team. USF has pulled off back-to-back ranked wins. I did rewatch the game against Florida. I didn't think USF played particularly well in that game, and that's really impressive when a team can pull off an upset of close to 18 points without playing their A-plus game. But I think Miami is ultimately too deep, too big, and it'll look a lot like last year's game did where Miami pulled away late. But again, they're playing for the MacGuffin, and I don't think you were familiar with that because you just kind of blew past that.
I was hoping that as a good producer, you wouldn't circle back around and point that out. I would hope that you would support me and just keep it moving. I didn't come close to answering your question. I just did a little dance on USF and UCF's history over the last 10 years. But you're supposed to protect me in those spots instead of expose me.
I was just going to explain what the MacGuffin is. The MacGuffin is this fictional trophy that people date back to the dawn of college football, Rutgers-Princeton. And basically, it's a title belt that gets handed down. So whoever won that Rutgers-Princeton game was a MacGuffin champion, and whoever beat them got to be the MacGuffin champion. Florida won the MacGuffin championship when they beat Ole Miss last year, but now USF is a MacGuffin title holder. Now, this would be Miami's 7th MacGuffin reign. Wow. And they also one time held the MacGuffin for 800 days.
Wow.
Yes, so this is a deal. This is a huge deal going on. As if I can make football in the CW seem any bigger. Yeah. But usually when Miami has a top 5 team and they play a ranked team, there's more juice to this. I love it when these two teams play. Neither of these programs are afraid to schedule one another. I know they play again in 2028. I would totally sign up for this being an annual rivalry. I love taking trips out to Tampa. I love USF's gumption when it comes to scheduling these games. And I'm expecting a pretty good one in which Miami will... Look, in the first 3 weeks, Miami has an opportunity to beat 2 ranked opponents. That's pretty damn good. I don't think that they've done that since 2017, beat 2 ranked opponents.
I mean, to Dan's point about liking UCF and USF, for the last decade or so, there's only 2 teams in the state of Florida who are ranked in the top 25 in the Cully Matrix, a nationally recognized poll by the NCAA.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is winning the MacGuffin...
USF and UCF, top 25.
You can kick them out. That's all right. I think most people would back that.
They'd want that.
It's good context.
Go Knights, though.
Yeah.
Bounce house.
Yeah, you're self-reporting. That's good.
Yeah, Dan, did you see that UCF officially renamed their stadium the Bounce House? It was just a nickname before, and now it's actually the Bounce House. Interesting.
Are you not into this game? Do you not believe in USF?
Do you not want to talk football? I don't understand. I thought you wanted to come in Friday to talk ball. And we talk ball, and you're like, let me talk to Mr. Moreland.
You got to circle back to the Packers.
I will eventually. Put it on the poll. Get me Conine. Is winning the MacGuffin a big deal? And also, gumption. I'm not hearing that word a lot anymore, and I'm certainly not hearing it very much around football in my football analysis. All of you here. When Mike Ryan, for some reason, tells you he's impressed by a team's gumption, is that analysis that you guys have heard anywhere else? Who leads? Just tell me, who leads the NFL in gumption?
No, I meant the athletic department's gumption in scheduling games. I don't know if there's an NFL team. Gumption doesn't really play itself out on the field, Dan. This is more of a mindset.
I would argue that the CFP committee probably takes into account gumption.
I mean, that's basically SOS, right?
You guys want football, let's do the bucket and get me Jeff Conine. Somebody get me Jeff Conine, but let's do the bucket, the Dentech bucket. I have told you before that Dentech, this is something I have used because I was grinding my teeth at night.
Look at you. The grind never stops for this guy.
It was helpful. It stopped the headaches. So I can say that honestly. The helmet that we have in front of us, I have not lost in a year. I never lost last year.
Like the MacGuffin.
Billy, you lost last week.
No, I did not lose.
I did?
Yes, you lost last week. You were the only loser last week. I did not lose all of last year. We are going to do the bucket again, the Dentech bucket. Mike Ryan, you select first, please. Where is the bucket right now?
Here. Roy's going to select first. It's the bucket. It's presented by Dentech's Ultimate Fantasy Football Punishment. Learn more and sign up your league at dentech.com.
Okay, I have thank you for your service.
Ooh, take Army.
Yeah.
They're on a buy.
I would take Army.
Okay.
Army is on the buy.
I won with that helmet pull last time. So. Oh, whoa, Jesus, damn it.
All right, let's fix it.
That's on me. I'll fix it.
Put him back in. We had a fumble. We got a fumble. Ball's on the ground.
Okay, actually, dramatic.
It was handed kind of weird, but I'm taking responsibility.
Ball, Oski.
Dramatic tension. Hold on a second. I'm going to go to break. We got to get ourselves in order. The game.
I got it in order.
The game has been
You ready to do it?
compromised. The
I
game
can
has
rummage.
been. Go to commercial. The game has been compromised. Give me Conine.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Whose turn is it next before we bring on Pablo Torre to select from the bucket? Because we did a very poor job of getting Jeff Conine, of staying on track, of me maintaining my point. I lost track of the show there several times.
You guys pointed out that I lost last week, so I want to let the audience know that I did already select a punishment because I know that has been a complaint amongst many people, fans, Dan,
Meadowlark has now hired somebody to enforce that officially. I can't tell you. No, I'm bringing in somebody to back you up, Jeremy, in the event that you don't have enough backup. We have someone hired. I'll tell you about it soon.
Okay, well, in any event, I selected the Kawhi Leonard, and the punishment is I have to plant a tree. Now, I would say in the spirit of Kawhi Leonard and the punishment, I do not plant a tree because I will plant as many trees as Kawhi Leonard has planted. So I would say that has been paid off already because I've planted
That's
the
not
same
how
number
this
of trees.
works.
So I knew that you guys would protest this, so I went out on my own and I planted a tree, and I would like to show you here the photo of me planting the tree.
That is not
and
you.
this
That's
punishment
not you.
has been
That's
paid off.
not-
No,
That is
not
not
only
you.
did I.
That's what happened there.
You're
That is
clearly
me.
not you.
That's lifeless. Is that AI you?
Excuse me. That is me. That is my raincoat, which you guys have seen me wear many times. That is my Blue Missions hat that you guys have seen
Let's
me wear
keep
many
it
times.
moving,
I
shall
planted.
we?
I planted a second
Rummaging.
tree as well. I'll have you
Pablo's
know.
going to be here soon,
I have
and
now
we need to do the bucket, please.
a 1 punishment credit because I planted 2
I have
trees.
the New Orleans Saints.
Oof, you don't want
Yeah,
that.
I don't want that.
They're
I'm
at
putting
home
that back.
against the Niners.
Nah, it's
They're a
terrible.
3-point dog.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones already
Mac
put it
Jones,
back.
though.
That was a mistake.
But Kyle Shanahan did want Mac Jones initially in that draft process. Remember? Nice little storyline, Dano.
Oh, thank God. New England Patriots.
Thank God.
Against the Miami
Oh,
Dolphins.
the Dolphins aren't going to win
He
that
did
football game.
upgrade when it comes to line. All
They're
right,
terrible.
For me, there's a Dentech black
I love Dentech.
Greg Cody has picked the Dolphins to win this week.
Shocking. All right, here we go. All right, the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl rematch
Yep.
against the Philadelphia Eagles.
A 1.5 underdog at home.
I'm gonna take the Kansas City Chiefs as a home dog. I know Patrick Mahomes' history as an underdog, and I love it every time. I'm always gonna take Patrick Mahomes as a dog, especially a home dog. Are you shitting me?
All right. Now remember, I have a 1 punishment credit since I planted 2 trees.
Pablo's now there, and we're well behind. We're
I have
well
selected
behind.
the Lions.
Well,
Right.
they got the Bears. You are Bear Down Billy.
I'm Bear Down Billy.
All right, look, this is what we're going to do. Pablo.
6-point favorite.
I'm going
Pablo-
to take the
Okay,
Lions.
listen to me.
You want me to pick for Pablo?
We've screwed. Well, he's got to do it, yes. But
Okay, so just hang on, Pablo. We're good.
yeah, we got to get this done. But we also, Pablo's very busy, and he's got to go from place to place, and we got a finite amount of time with him, and I don't want to waste it.
You're
with this
wasting the
bucket.
time right now. Like we
Yeah.
could have all picked.
Yeah.
What is in your mouths?
Dentech.
Dentech,
The
sir.
proud sponsor of the bucket.
What is in your mouth? You're so busy you don't know your sponsors? What are you, Balmer? Like you're Silver? Like you don't know your sponsors?
Let Chris go to
I'm taking the Bucks on the road in Houston. I love what Baker Mayfield's doing. They're a 2.5 point underdog on the road, but I'm taking them.
That might be a make or break.
All right, this is for Pablo. I'm reaching in, Pablo. You have the option to put this team back, or keep it. It is the Broncos. They are playing.
They're at the Colts, and they are a 1.5 point favorite.
You can put it back, and you're stuck with the next helmet, or you can keep the Broncos.
Why is Chris so good at talking with Dentech in his mouth? I'll put it back.
Okay. It's because it's so damn natural. That's why. You have the Titans. All right, we're bringing this into
Oh,
Dan
you
now.
downgraded.
You downgraded.
They're hosting the
I
Rams.
regret that decision.
The
Yeah, they're
Titans
hosting
are
the
a
Rams.
5.5 point dog at home against the Rams.
I like him there, though, Pablo.
Again, have not lost in a year.
Yeah, we have no way to verify.
I
this.
lost, but I paid off already.
So the Arizona Cardinals, Tony says he-
Carolina. They got Carolina at home, 7.5 point favorite.
All right, I'll take
you
that.
better keep that.
I'll keep that. Thank
All
you.
right.
Stop threatening me.
Thank you, Dentech.
Pablo, I have a number of questions. I will get to them one at a time. First of all, I need an explanation, please, for why it is that you look so much larger than Samson in all of these videos that I am seeing of your podcast, where you are how tall, Pablo? What is your height?
Thank you for asking. I'm 5'10" 3/4 inches tall.
Okay, I don't believe that. I believe
It's on my license.
I think he's surprisingly.
No, Pablo
tall.
is. Yeah, I concur that.
What?
Thanks,
Okay,
thanks, guys.
again, put the picture up. Not since
Surprising.
Not since Billy Gill, not since Billy Gill sat next to Derrick Henry, have we had someone look so small next to someone so large. Although I think J.J. Watt has, is it Iron Eagle or is it Noah Eagle that he was
Iron.
next to? Okay, so he was next to
That's sure.
Daddy. So this is Iron Eagle versus J.J. Watt. If I gave you the three of these in terms of size disparities, which Pablo
This
would,
one wins.
Pablo, which
The J.J. Watt one looks like it's like the Hobbit technology from Lord of the Rings. Like they're in the same perspective. That's the part that's blowing my mind about that one. The other ones, I'm like, oh, that's just camera stuff. They are like right on the same plane of existence.
When did broadcasters stop using the booster? Because I think Al Michaels famously was always the same size as John Madden on that still shot, and that's just not possible. Yeah, John Madden felt like a mountain of a man.
Pablo, from your most recent reporting, I want to know just which of the details tickled you the most, okay? Was it that Wong has been his college roommate, Ballmer's college roommate since 1975, or was it discovering that his daughter worked at Aspiration? From among those two facts in your reporting, which was the more delightful? And give me a more delightful one than that.
My favorite one is actually that his name is Dennis. Like, there's another Dennis. There's a different Dennis. There's another Dennis who, by the way, Dan, for people who are like, this is just more circumstantial evidence, and there are those people out there as I wake up this morning bleary-eyed on my couch, having fallen asleep with my contact lenses in, fearing retina detachment, which is why I wear my glasses. I was frustrated. I just don't know if people appreciate what it takes for me personally to investigate an Asian American Harvard graduate who works in the NBA. Like, if I do this, that's how you know it's real, I feel like, is the credibility I've earned ethnically. And so all of it being that, all of it being a story with like so many stupid on the nose aspects that feel incredibly predictable and for that reason shocking.
Was Ballmer roommates with Bill Gates before he was roommates with Wong? Is that
you want to recreate the common room of that dorm in which it's Bill Gates potentially? I have to do the fact check again whether Gates was in the same room as them, but they were there. Yeah, this was Harvard, man. This was Harvard in the 70s. Think about it. Titans of industry allegedly smoking weed for the first time and wondering to themselves, when will we ever own a basketball team that we will use allegedly to circumvent the NBA salary cap regulations?
Be honest here. When you heard Adam Silver speaking and going pretty immediately into, let's see if we can protect the owners here with the way that I speak about this, did you think to yourself, he doesn't know what I know right now?
Yes. Yes. Look, I the standard for why I publish things, to be very clear, I'm not like the Joker. I'm not like, plotting this in a way that's going to get people to, step into the trap I've laid. I'm not a supervillain, but I am somebody who only will publish things if I have the fact checking that meets the highest standards of publishing. Like, Dan, the crazy part about this, and for people who don't understand the power dynamic here, on the one side of this story is not merely the commissioner of the NBA, but one of the 10 richest people in the world. On the other side of the story is me and you and our lawyer. So the whole question of like, when am I comfortable publishing something? It's not that I'm like holding back everything I got. I'm like actively trying to confirm this stuff so that in the event of litigation or factual correction, neither of which has ever happened with my show, which is shocking, it's because we did it the right way. And so that's the smile I have, is that I had the smile of knowing that I think I could get this. I think this is a bad look for them because they're not taking the first report seriously. And I don't think they did, frankly. And so then you get to prove and hold them to account using whatever they want to communicate to the public.
Oh, I was telling them earlier that the whole mood shift of the Board of Governors thing since your latest report went from, no, we all love Ballmer. He does great stuff. Everyone likes him. He's on the finance committee. This isn't Donald Sterling at all. This is a guy we all like, and he's good for the league, and he helps everyone, and he's affable, and he's at the governor's meeting saying, yeah, guys, same thing I said on ESPN, nothing here. And then you report what you did. And what I was hearing 2 days before about that governor's meeting and how nice it was, that mood has shifted because the additional reporting makes it such that, oh, no, he's ensnared here in a way that's going to be I don't even know what they're going to try to do to try to explain their way out of this one.
I've heard many back-channeled attempts that indicate, by the way, we've seen since the first report came out, the best they got. So what they're not doing on the NBA Clippers side, if we assume their goal is to shrink the PR footprint of this, what they're not doing is holding back their most convincing stuff. We're getting all of it, right? Because Ballmer flies to Bristol Thursday night, the day after. That's how panicked he is, right? Just observing this, again, not the Joker, just observing this factually. So what happens next is that we get the best spin, and you've seen it. And it's incredibly, just paper, tissuey in its flimsiness, if that. tissue might be generous for what they're trying to spin. And so the question now of like, okay, what do you do with this one? The only thing I've heard back channeled, which makes me laugh very hard, is that Dennis Wong, who is an incredibly wealthy real estate magnate, he wanted to save his daughter's job by putting in $2 million into a company that was valuated, by the way, still at the time of his investment. I don't know if I made this clear enough in the episode. He was investing in a company that had gone into default, that had its independent auditor resign, that was facing massive seven-figure litigation, that was facing probes by the SEC and FINRA, the regulatory agencies. He puts in the $1.99 million, conspicuous on its own, and he does it at a valuation of over $2 billion. And so the question is, why would he do this? He was disclosed all of these facts in the paperwork. We have the signature, we have the document. So why did he still do it? And so the only head of a pin that anybody who wants to spin this has left to dance upon, there must have been another reason why he made a disastrous financial decision like that. It must have been to save his daughter's job. And I will just assure you that not only is that insanely nonsensical, because the daughter recently graduated from Stanford, because the company was broken and falling apart, because Dennis Wong is extraordinarily rich, it doesn't need to save his daughter's job at a broken company that is going into the trash can. It's also the fact to me that if you were to do that, that's a different potential crime. If you're just going to bribe a company to save your daughter with $1.99 million, if in fact that is the argument that anybody wants to go with. So I just don't get it. At this point in the story, I just don't get what people are trying to do here. But it seems to indicate that they just don't want to see the story for what it is.
I like how the internet takes your reporting and starts running with it and does its own version of Twitter sleuthing. Yesterday we saw highly circumstantial evidence of like how Kawhi was very inactive for the Clippers prior to December 10th, and then all of a sudden he played 82% of the games. Billy posited that, well, why would he care about a $1.75 million payment when he's getting paid $40 million from the Clippers? And my counter to that was, no, this is bookie logic. It's the principle. Because if they miss this payment, they're going to miss all the other payments. I know this is purely circumstantial and not maybe to the standard of your reporting, but what do you make of the theory out there that Kawhi's camp was very upset about this and it forced Wong to make this deposit, and then all of a sudden Kawhi started playing again?
So one big part of that is comprehensively reported and vetted and fact-checked and has not been challenged, which is that September gets paid in quarterly payments, $1.75 million. September comes. This is his second payment ever. Kawhi Leonard's second payment ever. September comes, September goes. October comes, October goes. November comes, and November goes. So this is 3 months late, is this second ever payment, right? And so the question then is, come the rescheduling of this payment to December 15th, how do they get the money? That's the answer of the roommate, Dennis Wong, and the only other, by the way, owner of the team, the only man Steve Ballmer trusts with a share of his most precious possession, Los Angeles Clippers. That's the, okay, how do they pay it? But the question then is, what's it like for Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis Robertson and the agent Mitch Frankel, right? Like the representatives of Kawhi Leonard. Because what happens is, what I know is that there are many calls that are increasingly furious because you're 3 bleeping months late on the second payment, right? And by the way, Ballmer put in $50 million personally a year ago. And so from a position of something is not right here, what I think is safe to infer from all of this is that the people involved with the Los Angeles Clippers were aware that there was a problem. And so then the next question is, if you're Kawhi Leonard and you're a master of leverage to a degree that has been, frankly, in excess and more effective in that excess than any other athlete I can think of, where he's extracting all these things from the marketplace of Steve Ballmer and not the Raptors or the Lakers, it turns out, but from the richest man in sports, how do you then make sure that they know you're serious? And so the sleuth thing and the connecting of the dots, I'm not doing that. I haven't done that data dive. Again, this is where I say, you guys, please feel free to look into this. Do your research, do your Googles. I'm not saying this, but I think it's safe to wonder let's put it this way. If I was a Clippers executive and if I was aware of this, right? These are just the conditionals. If I was aware of this and I had a guy who was right off missing the last season for knee problems. I would say at the beginning of the season, finally he's back. Let's be careful. But what would be very hard if that same guy was complaining to these entities about how he wasn't getting the payment he was legally entitled to. The question then becomes the question of load management. How voluntary is the pain that you're expressing to your team as to why you won't play that night? That would be an outstanding question for someone to look into.
I will tell you, if you're watching some of what's happening here, the people who are aggregating Pablo because they're 7 months behind on this story are having trouble with the headlines and the first paragraphs because it's such a thicket of stuff. When you say reporting something for 7 months, and when people do not know what it means to have a lawyer listen to Amin El-Hassan's answers on things, because you have to be very careful. And when you go on David Sampson's pod and you say, quote, I would love to talk about what we reported on Wednesday with anybody in any setting under any amount of spotlight that you've got. Explain to me how hard the last 7 months have been. Explain to me why it is that the NBA underestimated you because the sports media has fallen apart and no one's asking these questions because everybody's in bed with their partners.
So when I had Mark Cuban on the pod, who was the embodiment of my philosophy here, right? Like I had not ever talked to him before. Maybe we had emailed years ago because he answers all the emails in his inbox, but I'd never had a relationship before at all. And he tweets about this as if he has a confidence about what this story is and why it's dismissible. And I respond to him within an hour. We're taping the thing that aired as the Friday episode a week ago today. So that's just my philosophy, is that I've been ready to talk about this. What I am not worried about once I publish is my familiarity with the reporting. So, and why I reported it. The thing that people miss that I think the NBA is only realizing is that two things can be true. On the one hand, it can be absolutely true that Steve Ballmer was a victim and that he feels victimized. Listen to him on Ramona Shelburne in that interview on the set of ESPN in Bristol. He
Allegedly.
is pained. What do you mean? You don't think he's in Bristol?
Well, it was a point of contention the past couple of weeks with some people on the show where people were saying it was probably in LA because that's where Ramona
but
lives.
this is the point.
And then people were saying, well, he had to fly across the country, and then there's investigating done where Ramona said it was in Bristol, but it was in Bristol because we were right there. So then I was like, well, hold on. If they didn't fly across the country, then how do we know any of what we're being told is true? It was crazy. I said, dude, Pablo's got this on lock. Everybody, like, lock in here. Jeff Conine, pay attention. Stop questioning things, you know?
It was in Bristol.
I'm
Why
with you.
he was there.
Don't do this anymore. Billy,
Don't entertain.
Billy, you ruined his last answer.
But you did take that victory lap.
You took the victory lap on the episode.
And
we
whoever
made him
said
fly
this,
across the country.
Whoever said this made the point. Well, if the flying across the country part isn't true, then it might undo
He's got to
the
get out
entire
of here.
integrity of the
Listen to
report.
me. Pablo's
Okay, so I regret falling into the pothole that was.
They got
made
you.
for me by
Wasn't the
Billy
only
Joel.
one that you fell.
Ballmer's
in, pal.
off.
How tired of this story is your wife?
She is so mad at me. Allow me to continue the thought.
Does your wife ever tell you, why didn't you just extort them?
I know. So
You've got a hard out, Pablo. You've got a hard out.
I have a hard out. The market rate for me suppressing this is probably higher than my all-in career earnings. So horrible decision by me to just allegedly maybe offer this and say, hey, please make this go away for a low price of $1 zillion. The last thought I have is just, it was stupid what Steve Ballmer did on one level, and he was pained as a victim, truly, genuinely. But the story here is that he was victimized by a company that he partnered with to try and deceive the NBA. That's why this story is so fun to me and so ridiculous. It's that he was using, in a non-illegal way, a company that was completely comfortable, according to all of my reporting, with doing whatever he needed to get around the salary cap. And in that way, he was not breaking the law. He was breaking the NBA's rules. And this is the guy who ran Microsoft during the largest antitrust investigation in my memory at least. And so, of course, he doesn't necessarily care about that if you're to infer that based on his previous fact patterns of behavior. And so the question for him is, where did it go wrong? It went wrong when he realized, which was sooner than anybody wants to admit, that this was going bad. And at that point, the question is, what did you do? When did you know it? And all of that is absolutely relevant to a larger examination of what this story ends up being in the end. Yes, it is cap circumvention per my reporting. Yes, there are questions that there is more at stake here than that when it comes to, so you were partners with the scammers to some extent. What does that mean for the questions you might have asked if you weren't? And that is an interesting question for the federal government.
And he would have gotten away with it
if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that I thought was brutal. That would be my constructive criticism to Pablo. I know he's doing the victory lap, but when he said...
I didn't say that. You just played that.
No,
you just
did.
edited that in.
No, you said it. No,
this.
you
We have more context.
More context.
I don't think that
Play
is accurate.
the context.
Listen.
That he would have gotten away with it
accurate.
if it wasn't for me.
That
he would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for me.
There's larger context, I feel like.
Yeah, that it was so good, that it was so well thought out, that he would have gotten away with it
if it wasn't for me.
Impeccably produced.
Why does the replay machine have the thing in its mouth too? Why is that happening? Why is that
Pablo,
one
you've got to go. Anyone want to take a guess at why he has to go? He's going to play spades with Maury Povich on Nick Cannon's podcast.
That is confidential information.
See you
How
later,
dare
Pablo.
you.
Good talking to you. Nice seeing you. That's
Can
what
I listen to that show
Please,
instead?
please tell my wife that I love her. Thanks.
Pablo can't be good.
I assumed it was some form of star bleeping.
He didn't even answer the question of what was the hardest thing about the last 7 months. He is on a world tour, rocketing to fame and stardom because...
What's the hardest part of the life?
Me texting him to do a NASCAR charter episode.
People do somehow still appreciate good journalism or notice it when they see it. And he's got the story locked down, and the NBA underestimated him and underestimated sports media because sports media has gotten awfully fat in this space for a long time. And before that sounds too blowhardy on behalf of Pablo, I just know how hard that was to do, and it's why no one does it, because it's that hard. Because if you're going to go after Ballmer and do this to Ballmer and you don't have your shit right, the lawsuit's already on the way. Like, you have to be super careful not to get a word wrong. And that's not the media landscape we're living in anymore. And so everything he's done there is scary, and his confidence, to me, is aspirational because he knows he's got the story locked. And he made the commissioner of the league, who we were talking about when he got rid of the last Clipper guy, how he was in charge and the best, and look at all he knows. He made that guy look like he didn't know what he was doing when he got out there on behalf of, well, let's see what's really happening here. Let's have some benefit of the doubt, because his job ultimately is to protect Ballmer. But he's got in his power structure somebody with so much power and utility, because he's good at his jobs with finance and the things that he's doing on behalf of the business. Silver is Ballmer's employee. Like, that's how that one works. I know we give Silver a lot of power. The owners of the power, he's the wall between the owners and us. And it's a wall that doesn't come down often. And it's a wall that Pablo Torre just kicked in.
When you said his confidence is aspirational, did you mean that as a compliment or that it's fraudulent?
No, I meant that I wish
that's the name of the fraudulent company.
Did you do that on purpose?
You didn't do it on purpose.
I did not do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Accidentally,
it would have been good.
Accidentally good?
Can I ask you a serious question? When Cam Newton flies, do you think he wears his hat or he has like a massive hat travel box?
I think it's a travel box. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't you think you catch him in the airport just not wearing a hat?
I would assume he's checking a bag that's got like 5 of those things in there.
Mm-hmm. Let's
That
ask
is
him.
such a good
Well,
question.
let's ask Jeff Conine
That's
about
a great question. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does Cam Newton travel wearing his hat, or does he lock it away in a travel safe?
That's like the worst type of hat to wear on a plane.
But he's taller than all the seats, so that's not going to be an issue,
like,
right?
Then you lean your head back and like the thing.
No, but his head is way tall.
I get what you're
Cam
saying.
Newton is enormous.
That's true.
Like
He would
he's
be above
the biggest
yeah.
human I think I've ever seen. I could not believe he was a quarterback.
Probably
He's huge.
Don't you think he flies private? Like he probably just puts a hat
I don't
on
think
a
he
chair.
fits in a private jet, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like, private jets seem very tiny to me, and I can't imagine that being a comfortable means of transportation for him. Maybe he buys his hat a seat.
Put it on the poll. Do private jets feel very tiny to you? I also want to bring up what he's saying about Cam Newton's size. Yes, he is very large, probably has a firm handshake. The hats, though, have to be very valuable hats, right?
Yeah,
So-
I actually have some reconnaissance on this. My brother-in-law met the person that designs the hat. They're out of Montana, and like those hats go for like $800.
And so how would it's a good question that Billy's asking, and I don't know the answer to it. I don't know if I even have a theory, but when he talks about Cam Newton being large, one of the funniest things to have happened to me around feeling good for a moment and then not feeling good moments later, I had really good seats one time, really good seats to a heavyweight fight involving George Foreman, one of his last ones, and he became the oldest heavyweight champion ever.
The Michael Moore fight?
Yeah, and I knew I had good seats, and I sat in the seats, and I was really excited about the seats, and then Shaq sat in front of me. It's a full place. Like those are bad seats.
You yelled down in front or anything like that?
Those become immediately bad seats. You realize that, right? I couldn't see.
Back to Cam Newton for a second. I've called him like the greatest goal line weapon in the history of the game. It's pretty irrefutable. Billy's not a small dude. Check out this photo. Stugotz is in frame also for reference. Now, the hat may add stuff, but like the top of Billy's head is right at Cam Newton's chin.
He's like a brick house, too.
Yeah,
like,
look at
he's
those
solid.
Look at those shoulders.
I will say that handshake with Stugotz doesn't look great. But I think that might be on Stugotz.
It was just an awkward situation.
Hey, buddy, we should host a podcast together. I can like just see him there.
The things you guys are doing here, though, I understand that Cam Newton looks huge there, but I thought we had already established when he was sitting next to Derrick Henry that Billy Gill, even though people don't know this, is actually Brad Williams, like the size of Brad Williams.
That's a second reference to Brad today. What's going on here?
I'm just saying, we've proven already that you're not size-wise. When you say he's the biggest human you've ever seen, he would be 6'6", 250 pounds, so smaller than most power forwards, right? So if he were standing next to Draymond Green, Cam Newton would, an undersized defender, Cam Newton would look how next to Draymond Green? You think he would look bigger than Draymond Green?
I think there's more than just height when it comes to like judging how big a dude is.
Yeah. That's why I said Shaq.
Cam's got
Cam
girth.
Newton,
you know?
Cam's just got like such broad shoulders. Man, that guy playing quarterback is just wild.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
You understand the question that I'm asking?
Yeah, is
though.
Draymond taller than Cam?
Not
Yes,
taller.
it
No,
was
not
easy.
taller. More
Easy to figure
formidable.
out.
No, more formidable.
I don't
Not-
think more formidable.
That's
no.
what I am asking. I'm making the distinction. I believe I know what Billy's talking about here. I feel it when I stand next to Kim Bocamper. His
girth.
That's an old man. No, but I'm
Good
not.
handshake.
I'm
Great
not.
handshake.
that
Oh
might
my
be the
God.
best.
I'd opt
Gnarled.
out.
Gnarled.
I would not want to. I would not want to match.
But
up
gnarled
with
can
him.
help it.
No,
Gnarled can help it.
Oh, so he doesn't have the flexibility to actually squeeze.
The
Gnarled.
gnarled hands of football
Yeah,
players.
Gives you a full hand hug.
If he's got like a pinky
Yeah.
injury or
Like
a thumb,
Baldinger hands?
No, come on.
I mean, not Baldinger hands. That's a different
worked
class.
out once next to Brian Baldinger.
Oof, tell me everything.
Flip flops.
Oh.
Not surprising.
Put it on the poll. Did you assume that Baldinger worked out in flip-flops at Le Batard Show? Lifted weights in flip-flops because he's not working out. It's not. It is working out, but he's not doing cardio.
The boys in that gym were not doing cardio. We
No.
were stacking plates, pal.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Weightlifter who says we were stacking plates, pal. Douche or no douche?
I mean, he called you a weightlifter. I wouldn't take that as an insult
no,
in
he
any
was
thank
way.
lifting weights at the
He
time.
referred to
Yeah.
you as Mike Ryan, weightlifter.
That's what he was doing at the time.
6 stacks of 45s. That's what I ate for breakfast that day.
Wow.
You know who else stacks plates for breakfast?
Who, Mike? Tell me.
Offensive linemen in the NFL. Oh, so many great battles in the trenches today. We get this weekend. We get to see Chris Jones go up against a formidable Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. I got Kansas City in the bucket, and man, I wish I was in that building, in that barn for that game. If you wish you were in the barn for that game, you'd probably check the primary market and find out, obviously, this game at Arrowhead, it's sold out. It's a Super Bowl matchup. How crazy am I? Well, guess what? You have an option. You don't have to take that L. You can download the Game Time app and take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets. You download the Game Time app, you create an account, and you use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. You get panoramic seat views, unparalleled ticket coverage. Game Time truly is the best. I use it every time when I buy tickets. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. I did a Chris Cody there.
Swapping it.
Swap, ticket, go.
I don't know how much of the audience knows the facts of the information I'm about to give. Jeremy, I'm going to assume that you don't know any of the facts that I have here that represent an ancient time in history. Sometime I'm going to say close to either when you were born. I'm going to say that Monday Night Football in the early 90s, okay, Monday Night Football, the property that it is today, in the ratings, it was behind The Naked Truth, Suddenly Susan, and Carolina in the City.
Caroline,
excuse me. I didn't know that show.
Carolyn Ray? Oh. Have you ever seen Hollywood Squares?
She was an icon.
My fault.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay, now I know who you're talking about.
Monday Night Football was a small thing, and at the time, roughly around the time as they were trying to grow the sport over the next 10 or 15 years and grow Monday Night Football and what Thursday Night Football would become, because I do want to talk about the presentation of football that is making them dominate so many nights of the week.
Caroline Ray was not in Caroline in the City.
Oh, I thought that's the Caroline you were talking about.
No, Roy knows exactly who was in that.
And we're not talking about sex.
Roy knows after we said in this room that she was not on that show.
Yeah.
Roy was going along with everybody else.
Yeah, but then you
and
said
then
Sabrina.
now-
You said Sabrina the Teenage. She was in that show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
no,
you didn't know she wasn't in the other show until we pointed it out.
I thought it
Don't
was the
come
mom
on
from Back
here
to the
and say
Future.
all of a sudden, oh, I know everything.
Was it the mom from Back to the Future that was
Yes,
in that show?
Leah Thompson.
Oh,
I
now
kind of
everyone's
felt
an
that.
expert
No,
on
I wanted
Carolyn
to be
in
a
the City.
teammate to you, pal.
Yeah, okay. Guys, acting like you know who Andy Lauer is, please.
I don't know who that is. I'm being
Jonathan
truthful.
Wolf,
Don't know who that is
theme
either.
music composer.
Okay. Look, man, you're getting a little defensive. We try to back you up.
Well, because I plant 2 trees. You guys tell me there's
You
no
didn't
count.
plant
You
two
didn't plant any
trees. You didn't plant
I have
shit.
2 different
That
photos
was
of me
AI.
planting trees.
Why do you always try to weasel your way out of these
There are
things?
2 photos of me planting trees.
What kind of trees?
We need to. I hope
There's
it's
the
Jeff
other
Conine.
one.
That
There-
couldn't be.
That's a
not
palm tree.
you.
Tom
That is
Crean.
me.
Not.
That's
Is Tom
palm tree.
Crean. That is Tom Crean.
I don't know what to tell you. I wore that exact same outfit at F1. I recycled it. I said, you know what? It's raining. Let me put on my. You guys have seen that raincoat and that hat here.
That's true. That
I've
part-
also seen that
Thank
face
you.
coaching the Indiana Hoosiers.
The first one, like,
It's
kind of looked
rainy,
like you.
blurry, you know.
The point I was going to make.
So punishment serves. We can agree and move
This
on.
one kind of looks like you.
I've hired an enforcer. I'll let you know shortly. I'll make an announcement shortly. The paperwork is being drawn up on making sure that these penalties do get enforced this year.
Well, I'm all caught up, so I have nothing to worry about.
Before Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football became what they became, they were trying to they were groundbreaking and making it 3 broadcasters, and at various points before they hired Tony Kornheiser and Dennis Miller, they were thinking about putting Rush Limbaugh in the booth to do that and create whatever it is that would end up creating. The reason that I bring all of that up is because these things have gotten so seismic that I believe that we underestimate how hard it is for Amazon to do what they're now doing on Thursday nights, the sprawling nature of it, the fact that you don't have any complaints at all about what their broadcasts are. I saw Jordan Love interviewed before the game yesterday, and I was like, well, and maybe this is something they've been doing it recently, but I'm like, I don't remember the quarterback being interviewed before the game. He didn't have anything to say, but it's not something I've seen very much before, and I assume it's because these partnerships are interactive. Have you guys seen that before? I've seen it during XFL games. The quarterback interviewed right before the game. Is that something you've seen before? Has Amazon been doing that for a while? Because it's the first time I've seen it.
I guess I haven't noticed that. I don't know, to answer your question. I wouldn't have thought twice about it, but I do think Amazon does a tremendous job with their football coverage.
So if it wasn't for what he said about Donovan McNabb, Rush Limbaugh would have basically been Dennis Miller.
I actually think that this was thought of before even Rush Limbaugh was then later someone who went on ESPN. They were considering him earlier than that because they were trying to make television around sports. And none of those people have ended up working because the thing is such a cathedral that you can't be not serious in the football booth. That's not allowed anywhere. Like that. Who are the funny broadcasters in the middle
Joe
of
Rogan.
your football games?
Well, you said not allowed anywhere.
No, I mean
Joe,
in football.
Joe Rogan kind of broke the model.
Billy Gill, FIU.
That's true. The Duke.
I meant football specifically.
The Duke.
Football and baseball. Multi-sport broadcast.
Jason Benetti?
Pause up. Shootable.
He's doing
Check it
play-by-play.
out.
Like, he's literally doing what you're talking about.
He wants another answer,
He
guys.
just always wants to be right, this guy.
It's the NFL I'm talking about.
Well,
Give
just
me
give him time.
Yeah, jeez.
Like he's starting like all the greats do.
I got free time now.
You got a chance to be Dennis Miller, Billy. It's right there for you.
I mean, if I don't get that, I'm a failure. It's just a bit ambitious.
I would say Ian Eagle brings a lot of humor. I know he's the play-by-play guy, but I'm telling you, like, he makes a lot of jokes.
No, agree, he does.
I don't like that.
I would say of all the play-by-play guys, he's the one that will like if there's a funny fan, he makes a joke about it.
Kevin Harlan for me, pal.
But,
Kevin Harlan.
Ian Eagle's funny.
Ian Eagle is funny. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, he is, he is a prototype of a play-by-play man.
Romo's funny. Not on purpose, but he's funny.
I don't know, Jim.
You guys better get me Conine.
Look at Dave Damshek about ready to join us. He looks great. He looks well hydrated. Transitioning from summer to fall takes focus. Power through with Liquid IV's new sugar-free energy multiplier, hydration, and energy in one. Each stick has a 2-to-1 ratio of L-theanine to caffeine for balanced energy without jitters or crash. I keep a bunch with me. They got strawberry kiwi, blackberry lemonade. It's always on me because it's simple. You tear it, you pour it, you mix, and you're hydrated. Don't let the grind drain you. Ditch the glitch with zero sugar, zero crash from Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Live more. Thank you, Jeremy. Go to liquidiv.com. Get 20% off your first order with code Dan at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code Dan at liquidiv.com.
Roy, why are you laughing?
Jeremy jinxed him.
Hey, good read. It's a long read.
Are you still a nervous reader, Chris?
No, I think I'm actually just. If you remember Sheets and Giggles, I mean, I've come a long way.
Okay, so you were on with Damashek. You and your father were on with Damashek, and this has only happened a couple of times around here. It's a very good show, Football America. It's a new Metal Arc production. I've enjoyed what Damashek is doing. But Warren Sharp, we had him one time to sell his wares around here, and every single thing that he picked went wrong that week. And I think he went 0-14 or 0-16 and gave listeners a discount because he was so ashamed. His information's great. That day, he got everything wrong. I'm sitting here telling everybody how good this podcast is with Damashek, and you and Mike Ryan and RFK, you got every game wrong. Like you didn't, like your information was good, your analysis was good, but you got every single game wrong, the two of you.
And if facts matter.
Look, Dan, there are a lot of football teams out there. We picked the wrong ones on this day. Listen, Bobby Jr. and Boomer Berman.
That was Berman. That was not RFK. He was doing
No. Keep up. It was RFK and Boom.
I saw on the show on the show was RFK and Boomer, but we haven't established the show here, and so he just did Berman, and people thought he was doing RFK.
That sounded like a bad RFK. I'm not gonna lie.
People are gonna think he was doing RFK.
He was doing Boom.
Tej, look, you got the New York Jets, you got the Buffalo Bills, you got the New England Patriots. Look, there are a lot of teams in the AFC East, but the Miami Dolphins are truly atrocious. Back on the blitz.
That's Patrick Mahomes, and you're back on the blitz. Crutch didn't save it at the end.
It always saves it. It may not sound like him, but it kind of sounds like the words he would say.
No, but when he said that's the thing, though. You don't know it's totally Berman until he says back on the blitz.
That's right.
And he doesn't have any other moves. It's very
Hey,
limited.
I just got to say, listen, the rainbow emotions down there in Miami right now. First of all, I know Roy is happy because there are Sidney Crosby trade rumors afoot there. I don't think there's any credibility to any of them. But on the other hand, I come on here on a Friday morning and Dan starts out coming at me. I'm the one who's raw. No one there knows who Leah Thompson is. All the right moves. Red Dawn. I mean, Caroline in the City. What gives?
You opened your podcast with a movie from 30 years ago, and my only note was, "What are you, Simmons?"
He wishes. I can tap into the psychological meaning of Powers Booth visiting those teenage kids trying to survive up in the mountains as the Red Plague infects that Colorado town in Red Dawn. Oh, yeah. If you guys want to do a deep dive on that movie and the political ramifications, I'm ready at any point.
Okay, maybe that'll be a future segment. The Packers, obviously, in 5 days, or what was it? In 6 days, whatever it is that it's been, the Packers look a little bit better than everyone else looks.
They do. And I heard you guys talking earlier. What is remarkable, if I can be a little bit glass half empty here, is consider now. They now have Jordan Love successfully making that transition from Rodgers, just as Rodgers went from Favre to Rodgers. That's 35-ish years now. That's the exact same number of Lombardi trophies that they've delivered to Green Bay as Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco gave to Charm City. Underwhelming, ultimately, right? A lot of good times if you're a Packers fan, but not a lot of championships. Just 2. Same as the Ravens in that stretch of time.
Well, that's why I would argue that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen and an underachiever.
Then we park our cars in the same garage, don't we? Yes.
Well, but what's he going to be for your Steelers, though? Because you thought that game was going to go much differently. In fact, when I'm listening to your podcast, while I'm entertained, and while I know the nutrients are good, you got nothing right.
I don't know about that. I mean, I said, first of all, I called the Monday Nighter on the nose. I said that the Vikings would win that game by 3, and so they did. And I said
wire to wire. Dominated.
Had it all the way.
Yeah, you were never nervous about that one.
Well, I think for me, the big takeaway of week one is the range in kicking performances and how it has impacted the last 5 days worth of conversation, at least. The assumptions we've made about who is better than whom and all of that really pivoted largely off of the performances of the kickers out there. I mean, the celebration on the banks of the Three Rivers in Pittsburgh, fine, Aaron Rodgers was very good, but so was Justin Fields. So they basically played to a wash. The difference was Chris Boswell making 56 and 60-yard field goals, whereas Nick Folk missed an extra point, which ultimately forced them to go for two, which they missed, and they fumbled a kickoff.
Well, that's the one.
Game.
That's the one though. The Jets released, what is it, Gibson? The Jets released the dude who fumbled. They might as well have done it right on the field. But you've gotten how many years in a row have you gotten the Steelers record correct within a game?
Well, yeah, it's been at least a dozen years that I haven't missed by more than one game. I haven't been on the nose every single season, but I've been very close to it.
But that game didn't make any sense, right? It was the lowest total of the week, and it was offense galore. Is that what Aaron Rodgers is going to be?
No, I mean the assumption is, of course, that the defense will not allow 30 some points to Justin Fields or any other quarterback on the regular. That they are built to dominate defensively and grind you up on offense and try to limit what the future Hall of Fame quarterback can do positively or negatively to impact the outcome of the game. They really have to lean on him. I don't want to be too cynical about it. I didn't think, but then Aaron Rodgers said the same thing I said, so I don't feel so bad like I'm attacking the guy. I don't think he was moving as great as people seem to think he was. Yes, there was some of the old play action, gentle roll to the right that made him the Hall of Fame QB he is. But boy, he did not look as nimble as he did, let's say, 5 years or so ago. And so I think that that's going to be informative to the defenses upcoming. And here comes one to Pittsburgh now in Seattle that didn't win last week, but that is a mighty unit. And I do think I predicted a low-scoring game, Jets-Pittsburgh. I'm going to do it again here. I think that the Steelers and Seahawks do not put a lot of points on the board, and the bookmakers agree 39.5 is where I see that number right now for the total.
And you nailed that low-scoring game prediction for Steelers-Jets. Hey, when you mention the Packers look good, everyone goes to those uniforms now, non-traditional look, and it's always risky when you have a team of such great football heritage trying out one of these new uniforms. And Dave, I got to tell you, this uniform for a big swing is so close to being good. Yeah. So close. Look at that piping on the pants. Look at those stripes on the sleeves. Look at the collar. Look at that beautiful gold popping with the white contrast. It is almost totally put together except for the helmet. Yeah. No gold on the helmet whatsoever. No, a simple gold stripe down the middle would make this a great alternate uniform, not a good one. And it's literally made a potentially great uniform bad. Did they want to save money on helmet stripes? What is this?
Mike, this is I would rather you save this for Football America Fashion Corner, but fine. Let's
I thought
have
it
this
was
conversation
faux pas.
Well, we don't. Well, Dan, if you want to throw some, we're pooling Football Americans out there to land on the perfect name. A range of great options has been presented to us. I think I really like Drip Drill is a good one that just came across. Mike, you're so close, but you're just missing it here. The gold on the hat would be fine. How about this? Let's go more Spartan, literally, kind of, because it would look like Sparty, Michigan State. Get rid of the gold altogether and just go white and green. That would look pretty cool too, right?
I mean, I think you'd be the New York Jets at that point. I love the gold of the Green Bay Packers. I like that contrast. I like it popping. This one's right there for me. We can agree to disagree, but one thing that we can both agree on is this is an imperfect uniform because they did a half measure.
That's right. What it looks is unfinished. It feels like it was 4:59 p.m. on a Friday, and they're like, close enough. Let's go, Ken.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did the Packers' alternate uniforms look unfinished? Watch Football America twice a week, Mondays and Fridays on YouTube at Football America Show. What happened with the kickers? Do you have any solve with the kickers? I was saying earlier this week that no jury would have convicted Myles Garrett if he had strangled whatever the name of that Browns kicker is with all the syllables in his name, or all the letters in his names that aren't vowels.
Well, to me, I think we need a severe solution to kicking in the NFL. It's become a plague that they're too good. It was never intended for guys to be able to run out there and swing entire games by making 58-yarders with any regularity and 60-yarders and all of that. I say that we have to go back to the root cause, which was back in the 60s when somebody showed up from Europe and said, I'm going to sidewind it. You know, I don't know where this voodoo came from and who signed off on it, but maybe we just have to make it head-on kicking or shame the devil. No sidewinders to limit the amount. You know, Paul Hornung, the Heisman Trophy winner, the Golden Boy from Notre Dame and Hall of Famer with the Packers and all of that. Do you know he was Vince Lombardi's kicker into the early 60s? And in his last season as the place kicker, he made 33% of all of his field goal attempts. I like that. I think that's what we need to get back to. I find it unsatisfying that games all come down to a guy who has nothing to do with the entire rest of the game. It is our funniest position in major sports. It's our weirdest one. Is there any comp to it? Maybe a goalie in the NHL is about, I mean, these guys, it's people running into each other on purpose, and they're gigantic human beings. And then all of a sudden a little fella runs out with a single bar face mask to decide the result of the game. It's bizarre at minimum, right?
No, it's asinine. The whole thing, the whole construct of it, but it's called football and they can't go back now.
Well, like I've said before, we've talked about it. I think what one thing you could do is put the crossbar on top of the two goalposts.
I don't want to
so
do this again with you, Dan.
Why not? That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And how about this? How about that in order to be eligible to kick field goals or to kick extra points in a game, you have to play, let's say, 3 or 5 snaps from the line of scrimmage. We don't need this specialization. You know, we now live in an age where Travis Hunter is playing, he's catching passes and he's trying to intercept passes. And Shohei Ohtani hits and he pitches. The running backs now are required to catch passes as well as take handoffs. We've transcended specialization now. So let's get rid of the kickers, and the more you can do Swiss Army knife, who's the best kicker on the defensive line, like Ndamukong Suh, you're in. I think that's a good idea, Dan.
Please stop yelling at me. You're new around here. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the kicker the weirdest, funniest position in all of sports? I'd nominate the long snapper. Put it on the poll as well at Le Batard Show. Weirder, funnier career choice, kicker or long snapper, because that's a terrible way to go through life. Like, you're just always looking under, you're looking down through your legs all the time, and no one cares whether you're good at your job except for that one time you make a mistake. It's the same sort of thing.
My boy, I don't know why he volunteered for this on his football team. He has decided to be the long snapper and is now doing that. And I don't want to get in his head with my negativity. But of course, you just said exactly right. It's like, great, boy, but no one's ever going to notice you unless you screw up. I don't like that.
Not exactly the game that you're playing, Dave, because like the position is weird, I understand, but like it's usually occupied by weirdos. People say this about kickers, but in the NHL they say this about goaltenders and closers, typically a little off.
Oh yeah. What would be the position, Dan, if you could choose any in sport? What would be your preferred spot? You can take any of the 4 major sports.
Oh, backup quarterback.
That's a good smart one.
It's
yeah.
Well thought out.
I think that's, but I'm vain enough that I would want a little of the shine. And so I would want to be in the bullpen, because I wouldn't want to be near the skipper where he could.
But you're asking me, in your hypothetical, I have to assume the risk as well, right? So you're putting me in a position where I actually have to worry about Myles Garrett. Me, not as a quarterback, but me.
You could be a good holder.
It doesn't make enough money. It's not a good career choice.
I think, to me, to be out in the bullpen away from the boss man, where you can do your own thing and talk to the fans, and once in a while you get in. I mean, maybe like being a platoon corner outfielder would be pretty cool too, because then you don't play every day. You want to play some of the time. That's the problem with backup QB, is that you never get into the game.
No, Dave, you were going down the perfect track. The mop-up duty long reliever, right? Because you're down 7-2 in the 5th inning or the 6th inning. They bring in this guy. No matter how he performs, after the game, Skipper's like, hey, he gave us some huge innings in saving that bullpen for a later date. He really helped us out. Great job by him. Even if he's terrible, it's the perfect role.
You want to be Dave's right. You want to be the 4th outfielder. You want to be Ross Glode. Get a couple at bats a week.
That's
right, because it's like being the Chargers in the Peyton Manning draft. Like, you want to be, if you're the 4th outfielder, it's basically like being the Chargers after they already took Peyton Manning. Like, well, what did you want us to do? We had to take Ryan Leaf. Peyton was already gone. If you're the 4th outfielder, there is inherent lack of pressure on you. Like, well, I didn't start. I was like the go-to to, can you try and fix what's wrong here? I did my best at the plate there, Skip, when I went in there. Yeah, I like the lower stakes, the lower pressure on me.
The 7th episode of Football America is going to be today, and it's going to be Mondays and Fridays. You get this here at Meadowlark Media. 7th episode, you're big on numbers. The greatest number 7 ever in football is Elway without a close second. Does he have a close second?
Well, I mean, John Elway was one half of the greatest quarterback number 7 versus another number 7 in NFL history. John Elway and Boomer Esiason went head to head back in the 80s and 90s. So to that extent, yes, John Elway is safely in there.
To all extents, there's a better number 7 at quarterback than John Elway.
I mean, you don't think Ben Roethlisberger is at least a viable option? I mean, they won the same number of Super Bowls, and Elway's were more attributable to Terrell Davis. I think we can agree, right? In the twilight of his career. That being said, I always give Elway credit. I think that playoff wins for a quarterback are in fact a statistic in the postseason. Otherwise, what's the point of having a postseason? But his greatest deed, Elway, was dragging those bum rosters in the 80s to Super Bowl.
How do you reconcile, though, when you're talking about the measurements on some of these things? Like Ben Roethlisberger, I feel like, had a good deal more help than John Elway did the entirety of his career. And you're mentioning the last stretch for John Elway when he actually won the championships, but that's not even who I'm thinking of when I think of Elway, the quarterback.
What do you mean? What are you thinking of?
Just at the end of it, at the end of his career, like Peyton Manning won the championship and he had 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Like, I didn't need the proof of his championships. You say playoff wins are a stat for a quarterback, so your assessment of Lamar Jackson is what?
Is that he needs to take care of business in January, or else he does not make the short list of greatest quarterbacks in the history of people. I mean, it's as simple as that, and the same fate awaits Josh Allen. And it's funny that you bring this up, Dan, because, of course, I brought it up to Greg and to Chris Cody earlier in the week. I'd love to get your thought on this as well, just like I did the Codys. Maybe a hot take for people. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers down there in Miami. I say, for all of his rightly legendary status in pro football history, Don Shula failed Dan Marino. Dan Marino would have won a title if his head coach hadn't been outmoded. Don Shula was great, obviously the architect of those early 70s.
That's what
Super
you did
Bowl
with the
victories.
Codys on your podcast? You
That's
did
right.
Marino? Did Don Shula face Marino? You did a show that would have been great in 1985?
That's right. Well, as far as 1985 goes, I also floated this bit of positivity for the Dolphins fans. I mean, it gets the asterisk of the shameful loss to the New England Patriots in the title game in the Rainy Orange Bowl. But if Marino and company would have survived Craig James and Mosey Tutupu and Steve Grogan on that rainy day, they would have gone to the Superdome for a rematch against the Chicago Bears, who, of course, they vanquished on Monday Night Football. I think the same thing would have happened again. And then you really throw pro football history Super Bowl era on its ear by saying that the greatest single season defense, or at least the one that people hold up as being that, would have not won a Super Bowl, and Dan Marino would have won one. There are a few moments that are stronger inflection points than that.
So
game.
you are absolutely right. Don Shula won a Super Bowl throwing 7 passes with Bob Greasy. He didn't know what the hell to do with Dan Marino. He just let him be Dan Marino and didn't know what else to do because he was an old man coaching a team, and Dan Marino won all those games. And of course, he failed him at the end. Again, that show would have been better in 1993. You doing it with the Codys as we try to grab young people in the YouTube age. A strange choice. Did Don Shula face Dan Marino? Most of the people having that argument on sports radio are now dead. The people who had that argument on sports radio.
All right, you want to talk about Red Dawn again? We can do that.
See you later, Damashek. It's a good podcast. You should listen to it. Football America, Monday and Friday. Good talking to you. It's been nice to listen to. It's entertaining. It's nourishing. And put all your money opposite the things that him and the fake RFK said.
Now, Bobby Jr.'s responsible for those bad picks, not Damashek. Don't put that on me.
See you later. Good talking to you. More football to talk about this weekend. Since we were talking about kickers, it was delightful to learn last weekend that the University of South Florida has a Grammatica back there. Nico, carrying on the family tradition, I would say put them next to each other. More famous name associated with something, the Wallendas or the Grammaticas? Because when I saw Nico Grammatica, what a precious, precious heirloom. That's the greatest kicking family in the history of kicking, is it not? In the weird, funny position, that's royalty. There is no name you associate with kicking more than that, not Vinatieri, as a family, correct? There's no such thing.
The Flying Grammaticas, yeah, they are the kicking family. He was there last year. He was in like a shared role. They only brought him in for long kicks. He made a long kick against Miami last year. I was like, how do they keep making these down here in the Tampa area?
College football-wise, South Florida and Nico Grammatica kicking the ass of Florida. How much trouble is Billy Napier in? Because the expectations of Florida have changed, and I dare say Mario Cristobal has changed them, right? Because I wasn't expecting anything from FSU this season. FSU going from 13-1 to whatever they were, 2-10, 2-11, 2-12, whatever the hell they were last year, is something I've never seen before. Never mind in the state of Florida. I've just never seen it in college football, where you go one season to the next, and that's what it is. So I didn't expect anything from Florida State this year, and they were better than I expected in the first game. I expected something from Florida last year, and then the first game, Cam Ward took away my interest in anything Florida-related. They were very strong at the end of the season. Is doing some heavy lifting there. They were stronger, much stronger at the end of last season than they were the first half of the season, which ruined Billy Napier, and I didn't think he would recover from it. And then he loses at home to South Florida with a player spitting in the face of someone to cost him the game as an 18-point favorite. Where are we with the Florida Gators? We just had a week ago 3 of the top teams in Florida were in the top 15, and Florida clearly, first time out with that distinction, shit itself.
I think they were a media fabrication entering the season. I think people paid attention to them fighting for their head coach a little bit and thought that was some sort of predictive analysis and didn't really pay attention to the talent that they lost. And while they did well in the portal, with just outside guys, and they were pretty strong at receiver anyways. So they got smaller along the trenches. So I thought that this might happen. Florida's been a weird school, and it's always difficult to manage the expectations there. Will Muschamp took the impossible job of following Urban Meyer. Didn't matter that he made it to an SEC title game and recruited at a top 10 clip. Bottom fell out. You understand when you're following that job, you're likely to get canned quickly. But then Jim McElwain came around, and he won back-to-back SEC East titles, which was the first head coach to do that since Steve Spurrier. And that wasn't good enough because he generally wasn't did that thing with the shark purportedly. Or, you know what, that's just fact. He did that. Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. That's a fact. Yeah, exactly. We have proof.
But, I mean, when you talk about McElwain and you talk about Dan Mullen, certainly when these guys post close to a 700 winning percentage, you have to wonder, the expectations inside the SEC, especially since they've added the likes of Oklahoma and Texas, you should recalibrate them a little bit. Now, I don't think this is going to work out for Billy Napier, But they have a pretty good support system in place when it comes to resources and NIL. And if they maybe were just a little bit more patient with Dan Mullen, who I think kind of has that now on a smaller scale at UNLV and will show you over time what kind of head coach he is. If he doesn't have to worry about the recruiting, he can be a good head coach. So I think that they've kind of been a little quick.
He only has a $20 million buyout. It sounds crazy to say only, but it's not like $85 million or something.
But I do think that they're going to play hard again for their coach. I think LSU is probably a little overvalued, and they'll show some fight. I don't know if they'll pull off the upset. They have a crazy run of games here. It's going to be very difficult, and I fully expect them to have a new head coach. And from what I've heard, this not happen to know. I've only borrowed this from other people that happen to know, is they'll put forth a lucrative offer for Lane Kiffin, and we'll see if that entices him. Although I don't know if Lane Kiffin will do that, because that dude can win 10 games for the rest of his life at Ole Miss and be a conquering hero. You do that at Florida, as Jim McElwain and Dan Mullen prove, you lose your job.
That's what is interesting about all of the things that you were saying, the burden of expectations, right? We saw what the burden of expectations did to the Browns organizationally and on the field, to Baker Mayfield, to Odell Beckham. The burden of expectations make it so that Florida, plays in the SEC. And you've got now a couple of generations that saw what Spurrier did there, saw what Urban Meyer did there, feel like they deserve that. And so Mullen was a mediocrity when he wasn't a mediocrity. Expectations. I feel for DeBoer, he will not survive that.
No way. There's no shot he does.
Lane ending up there would be great.
It would Bama?
Be. I mean, he's not going to leave for Florida. Why would he leave Ole Miss for Florida?
Oh, man, he does love the coast of Florida.
Yeah, but, man, if he ends up in Alabama, he'd take that job just to stick it to Saban.
The burden of expectations with that stuff makes some of these jobs pressure cookers. Like the idea that Mike is using the strength of his mouth to say out loud, they should have stayed longer with Mullen, when we all knew what the fires were around that stadium when Mullen was mediocre. But it's what Dave Wanstead got swallowed by after it's Don Shula and it's Jimmy Johnson. I have a lot of great stats in my head, but the Pittsburgh Steelers having only 3 coaches feel like what the Packers have felt like having only 3 quarterbacks for the last 35 years, where structurally and organizationally, you're always able to evolve to keep up with everybody else.
I'm sure Gators fans probably couldn't see like how quickly things changed from an NIL support basis, right? So maybe they certainly had their reasons to let go of Dan Mullen. He didn't, like, when he lost his job, they were on a pretty bad run of form. But also Dan Mullen made Kyle Trask a Heisman finalist. He finished 4th.
Great college quarterback.
Yeah, Dan Mullen is a great play caller. He is a great offensive mind.
Mullen had the only Kyle Pitts I've seen be good.
And I think that if he were surrounded by what Florida has right now, he'd be more successful than Billy Napier, who by all accounts is a nice man, but he's going to be on someone else's staff.
You want to try and explain to me why Kraft is better than Pitts?
I don't understand that one at all, but no one has. It's one of football's great mysteries. Everyone still believes in Kyle Pitts, although promising with a different quarterback in there, spraying the field a little bit more. Michael Penix is such a gamer. That game was insane. We didn't even talk about Bucks-Falcons.
I know. Well,
the last 5 minutes of that game were just bonkers. That was drugs.
Penix is going to be fun as a quarterback, fun on the goal line. He did 2 things near the goal line that were winning plays. He did not deserve to lose that football game.
The Drake London drop. He was so good, and Baker just matched him shot for shot. And Mecca's going to be an incredible receiver for him. Baker, when he said, like, as soon as he got him in a
Tampa
camp,
was hurt, too.
This dude, Tampa. Wirfs was banged up.
It's been interesting to see Baker Mayfield resurrect himself in a way that always wins that division. Like, that's nuts to have watched what happened there. There has been so much flux in that division. I know it's not a good division, but he's been the best to top it since he's been there.
Here's how I know the Baker Mayfield is he good discourse is dead. We know him to be good. You know why? Because I was betting on the Falcons that game, and I was terrified of Baker Mayfield marching down the field. Baker Mayfield's already gotten 2 of his offensive coordinators' head coaching jobs. He's going to get a 3rd one hired. We got to stop doing this with the underestimating of Baker Mayfield.
So when you guys say terrified, like this is an interesting way, right? I saw a lot of people criticizing John Harbaugh because he punted on 4th and 2 and trusted his defense to not let Josh Allen get back down the field for a field goal. I always make my decisions as a coach that way, where I say, what does the defense want me to do here? And a defense was scared and a stadium was scared that the Ravens would go for it on 4th and 2 and finish the game, even though it risked leaving Buffalo already in a position to kick a 57-yard field goal to win the game.
When you're talking late game efficiency per Buccaneers communications, after the 5-play, 63-yard drive to beat Atlanta. Since his arrival in 2023, in the final 2 minutes of regulation, Baker Mayfield is tied for the NFL lead in passing touchdowns and ranks 3rd in passer rating.
Dude.
So he's been great late in games.
And that place was an insane asylum. Like, that's one of the loudest stadiums I've ever heard on television just because of how crazy that game was unfolding. It is so pathetic for the Cleveland Browns to have worked since their return in 1994 to find a quarterback like they had in Baker Mayfield and shoot him out the door because he had the nerve to play hurt.
Face the Texans this week at Houston. That should be a win for Tampa.
Ooh, you think so? I mean, a season on the brink if you fall to 0-2 for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I don't know about Houston. I think that maybe we saw the best of Houston 2 seasons ago.
Well, what do they have the following week?
After that, they have the Jets. They're hosting the Jets.
That should be a dub.
Then the Super Bowl champions come to town.
Ooh, but I mean, they own the Eagles. They beat them in the playoffs. They made Kellen Moore reshape that offense.
Then they're at Seattle.
I'd rather talk
49ers.
about anything than stadium
Well, we could
talk.
I like that because we could do Falcons, which is where we were headed. This is a rough one for them at Minnesota.
Ooh.
That's going to be a
Sunday Night
test.
Football, though, bright lights.
I'd rather
That's gonna
prefer
be a test.
to talk
Then they
about
have the
anything
Panthers. Panthers easy peasy.
Chris, what happened with your air conditioning guy the
Then
other
the
day?
Commanders.
That's funny. The air conditioning just cut off here. I had an air guy come over, and I got. Do you guys tip the air conditioning guy when someone comes over, like a plumber, air conditioning? I do as well, and I'm always unsure of whether I'm doing enough. $150 was the bill. What do you tip?
How good of a job did he do?
He did a very nice job.
What was wrong with it?
It was just over cool. It was like frozen and stuff and dripping a little. Needed to be like air, like suctioned out the water in there a little.
I think 50 is fair. I'd go over and above if it looked hard to me and if I was deeply appreciative.
It took him about like an hour and 20 minutes.
That sounds like a 75 bucker.
I went $200. Quiche.
You gave him a $200 tip
No.
on a $150
$200
service?
total. It was $150. Gave him $200.
That's nice. That's a nice job out of you.
That's what I felt it was sufficient. But, he didn't give me a, wow, thank you.
If you're tipping, it's generally about 20%, 25%. Just
That's
about
restaurants,
any tipping
no?
you're doing. Well, just about any kind of tipping, I would say. Like if you're trying, but so you went. That's more than most people would give. I think. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you tip the air conditioning guy? Put it also on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the air conditioning guy ever not a guy? Because I don't know whether that previous question is offensive the way that I phrased it. Because
Could Brad Williams be an air conditioning guy?
I didn't make it
Weird fixation today with little people.
What's going on today?
Do you all tip your air conditioning guy? Because I don't. I know that we've.
Not gonna lie, I said this out before the show, and I got some no's. Yeah, there were like
I don't think
hear 'em
everyone
now.
does that. I don't think everyone does that. And you gave a hearty tip, which I assume is why you're talking about it. Like I assume that it's why you're telling everybody. Yeah. You're telling everybody, "Woo, I was generous here," and I think you were generous.
It's because
here.
I feel this pressure. Like I think I overtip because I don't. I the stress of them being unhappy, walking out and being like, "This mother bleeper." So I just get scared, and I probably do overtip because I just.
Is it always the same AC person for you?
That's a great question.
Or do you call different like AC
it's
things?
The same company. It's been the same guy. This guy was a different guy. So the one that I had yesterday was a different person, but I have had somebody.
Does the person own the company? Does that make a difference? Like my guy Carlos, I'm pretty sure owns the company. So then do I tip him? Also, one of Carlos's guys stepped through my ceiling once, and I was not happy about that.
I would imagine, Dan, you feel like, especially if they recognize you, right? You then do you do a thing of like if you're recognized, you tip more?
Well, yes, I had the world's worst waiter in Hawaii.
What a title!
Well, but he was nervous.
You wear a
because-
sash or like a trophy? How'd you know?
No, because he got
officially?
3 parts of my order wrong, and I only ordered 3 things.
Look, if you're a server and he recognized you.
That's right. He got nervous.
And you
is what
still
happened.
screw it like that is.
Well, but that's why I had to overtip though, because I can't leave a shitty tip in that spot. So
What
even
was
though
the
he
order?
was terrible.
You strike me as a weird
No,
orderer.
it was super simple. No.
So can I
he
get
was
some
just-
cereal with coconut milk?
He was just nervous. Yeah,
And
for
no
dinner
cereal?
at a seafood restaurant. Yeah, it's just Cocoa Puffs. Yes, that's what I ordered.
I went to dinner with Dan once, and he didn't order food or a drink.
To be a fly on the table.
And we didn't know that was happening until he was the last to order, and then he said, "No, I'll have nothing, please." And we're like, "Wait, what? Why are we here?"
Sparkling water.
Was that Mama's Fish House?
We were here to talk. No, I like that though. No, Mama's Fish House had great service. I feel bad for this guy now because he listens to the podcast. And now
How
I've
did the
just
guy get it
buried
wrong?
him.
What did he do?
He just got. I ordered 3 things, and he brought 3 things out that were wrong.
All at the same time?
But
Was
he
it your wife's order, and he just put it in the wrong place?
Was this appetizer, main course, and dessert? Drink?
I'm always
It was
impressed.
everything.
I'm always impressed when a restaurant knows like what seat the food goes to. You
Yeah.
can tell that's a good restaurant when it's like they know that this steak goes to this seat. Whereas sometimes like it's like who got the fillet, and then you have to raise your hand. I like it when they know what seat.
How off was it? Like, did you say I'd like a Coca-Cola, and they brought you like a
everything
Miami
was
Vice or
everything
something?
was wrong, Billy. Every single thing was wrong.
Little private insight into my personality. I privately revel when I'm like, "You sure you don't want to write this down?" And I can tell like they're not writing down the order. They're like, "Got it over there." I'm like, "All right."
My order's gonna get more complicated.
Yeah. Are you sure? Okay. And then they come back and they mess it up. Sometimes I don't even articulate it.
Can I
but
get the ceviche with no garlic, please?
In my mind, I'm like, should have written it down.
As long as you're close, I'm good. You know, like I'm not gonna send anything back. Let's be
Oh,
real.
I never send
Just be
food
close
back.
enough.
I
whatever.
never send food back. Let's. I'm real there.
I ordered
Like,
no cheese. I have a knife. I'll take the cheese.
I'm not gonna send it back, but I know.
I know. I will take this L.
Honestly, it
written
sounds like
down.
messing up your orders is the way to a better tip, because Dan just said he over-tipped because the guy got all of his orders wrong, which is like, if I know that, if I'm podcasters out there, if you're going to be one of Dan's future servers,
Screw it up.
Screw up his order, and you're going to get a massive tip.
Just
it
say
sounds
you know
like.
me. You can extort me. That's how it happens. Like, just say you know me.
Big fan.
Get me Conine! Get me Conine!